Right, it's 8:52 and I've got either Tom Grennan or the Detroit Spinners waiting in the wings to musically end with a flourish in this hour before more great music after 9 o'clock. And whilst I think if we're going to go with the modern or the 70s, I want to remind you about something, and that is the wondrous Wiltshire road that time forgot. So very few people know anything about the North Wessex Way. So grab your walking shoes because we're off to rediscover it now. For 2,000 years, it was the main route, really, from Oxford to Bristol until it became a forgotten road. And this time last year, where did the months go, eh? A local man from Minety tasked himself with investigating the full story behind it. David Mitchell walked us along parts of the way, letting us into some fascinating secrets. Well, a year on, time to catch up with David again because he says, Ben, I've done even more digging and I think the listeners need to know. Now, there's a great deal of excitement when people in the North Wiltshire area, and further afield actually, heard about this for the first time last year. And it meant that a lot of meetings that David laid on in village halls and schools and whatnot got filled up really, really quickly. So we're hoping there's the same excitement in this part 2 of the adventure. And this time round, he said, meet me outside Purton Church.
Yes, so this is Purton Church.
St Mary's?
St Mary's Church. And I did a talk to the Purton Historical Society earlier this year and started researching Purton because Purton is a significant stopping off point along the North Wessex Way. And it's at halfway between Blunsdon and Malmesbury. So I started looking into it, and one of the facts I found was that Purton Church is one of only 3 in the country that has both a west tower and a spire. When I started researching it and I asked at Purton Museum, why is that? No one could tell me why that was. And so I started digging into the history of Purton and uncovered some interesting facts. So are you prepared for a history lesson now?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm not going to be cheeky and ask you where the other 2 places.
I don't know that.
It's irrelevant, because we're BBC Radio Wiltshire, so you carry on. Yeah, I like that.
So the history of this is that when Malmesbury Abbey was founded in the late 1600s, or 600s rather, Oldhelm, who was the first abbot, was gifted Purton by the King of Wessex at the time, Cedwalla, and he gifted 35 hides of land. And I've worked out how much that is. That's over 4,000 acres. That's 6 square miles of land around Purton was gifted to the Abbey.
Hang on a minute, hold that thought. It's just in the laws, you've got to convert that to football pitches and the size of Wales. So I think it's 2 acres per football pitch. So 2,000 football pitches.
So something like that, yeah.
And a big chunk of Wales or Belgium.
Yeah, so it's a big area that they were gifted. And that was fine. For a couple of hundred years, this is one of their most significant holdings that Abbey had. And then in the early 780s, it was stolen from them by King Offa of Mercia, who encroached into Wessex over the River Thames, and he stole it. Then when he died in 796, he was succeeded by his son Egfrith. His sister was married to Beatrix, the King of Wessex. So he was persuaded by the King of Wessex to return Purton to the Abbey, which is fine, but in return he wanted 2,000 silver shillings. Now this is obviously quite an important diplomatic thing because Egfrith's reign only lasted, I think it was 141 days. So he was on the throne for 141 days of Mercia, and then he died, apparently in dubious circumstances, possibly assassinated. So it must have been quite a pressing issue. But anyway, Purton was given back to the Abbey in return for these 2,000 silver coins, and it remained in the hands of the Abbey until the dissolution of the monasteries in 1538. So Purton and Purton's manor and the church were owned by the abbot and the monks of Malmesbury Abbey. Now, Purton Church itself was rebuilt in the 1300s, and the abbot and the monks would have been involved in the architectural discussions about how to build this. Now, when you look at this, it now has a west tower and a spire. At that period in the 1300s, Malmesbury Abbey had a west tower and a spire. It had a spire taller than Salisbury Cathedral, so it would have been an immensely impressive building, visible for miles around. And I think what you see here at Purton Church is like an echo of Malmesbury Abbey. This is what Malmesbury Abbey would have looked like back in the 1300s, before the spires fell down in about 1500.
Oh, so think of that the next time you're at Purton or in Malmesbury, and the parallels between the two. Listening to that, you can almost feel the leather sandals on your feet, can't you? Walking the North Wessex Way.
It's lovely. I do